It was the beginning of the school year at Maplewood High, and the air was filled with excitement. The schoolyard was buzzing with the usual chatter of students catching up after a long summer break. New faces were scattered around the school campus, but there was one face that caught everyone's attention. A new kid had arrived, and his name was Ryan. Ryan was different. He didn't speak much, and while the other kids laughed and joked in groups, he stood off to the side, looking down at the ground, as if he was lost in his thoughts. His pale blue eyes looked far away, almost as if he wasn't entirely there. His clothes were simple, just a black hoodie, jeans, and old sneakers. But there was something strange about the way he walked, like he was moving with a sense of purpose no one else could understand. Most of the kids weren't sure what to make of him, and the few who had tried to speak to him hadn't gotten much in return. Ryan kept to himself, making no real attempt to fit in. But that was about to change. The first strange event happened on the very first day of school. During the first period, Ryan sat in the back of the class, quietly observing as the teacher wrote on the board. It was then that a loud crash came from outside the classroom. Everyone rushed to the window to see what had happened, but no one could believe their eyes. A large metal trash can had suddenly lifted into the air, spinning wildly around as if caught in an invisible whirlwind. It hovered for a few seconds before it was gently set back down on the ground, as if nothing had happened. The teacher looked at the students, stunned, and asked if anyone had seen anything. Of course, no one could admit to having seen anything extraordinary, especially not in front of the teacher. But Ryan's eyes, they were locked onto the trash can. His expression was unreadable, but the slight twitch of his fingers was enough for anyone paying attention to realize that he had something to do with it. The next day, a similar incident occurred, but this time, it wasn't just the trash can. During lunch break, Ryan was walking across the schoolyard when suddenly, a soccer ball kicked by another student stopped mid-air in front of him. It hovered there for a moment before falling gently to the ground. A group of students, the rumors started to spread quickly. Some students were convinced that Ryan was just a normal kid with strange coincidences surrounding him, but others were more certain. They believed that Ryan had some kind of superpower. And as much as Ryan tried to keep a low profile, the strange occurrences began to happen more and more. One afternoon, while sitting alone on a bench near the school's library, Ryan noticed a group of bullies approaching him. They were the kind of students who enjoyed picking on anyone they deemed different. They laughed as they walked toward him, and one of them shoved Ryan's shoulder as they passed. "That hoodie is so out of style," one of them mocked. "You should probably just leave this school, freak." Ryan's eyes briefly flickered with a hint of emotion, but he didn't speak. The bullies laughed again, but something was different this time. The air around Ryan seemed to change. The temperature dropped slightly, and there was a faint hum, as if something unseen was charging the space around him. Without warning, the bully who had shoved Ryan was lifted into the air. He hung there for a moment, as if suspended by an invisible force. His friends screamed and ran away, but the bully was frozen in place, struggling to move. Ryan's hand was still by his side, but his fingers were twitching, his face stoic and calm. Then, as quickly as it had begun, Ryan lowered his hand. The bully fell to the ground with a thud. There was a moment of silence, and then Ryan simply stood up, walked away, and disappeared into the crowd. After that day, rumors about Ryan's powers spread like wildfire. Some students believed he was a hero in disguise, while others thought he was some kind of freak. But no one dared to confront him anymore. Ryan became a mystery, and that's just how he liked it. But it wasn't just about keeping to himself. Ryan was hiding a deep secret, one he hadn't even shared with his closest friends, because he didn't have any. The truth was, he hadn't always had these powers. They had appeared suddenly, without warning, and he had no idea how to control them. Every time something strange happened, he felt a surge of power course through him, but he didn't know how to stop it. It scared him. He had spent years trying to ignore these powers, hoping they would go away. But instead, they only grew stronger. Each time he thought he could live a normal life, the powers would resurface, forcing him to leave behind any hope of living like a regular kid. The worst part of all, he wasn't sure if he could ever stop them. One night, as he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Ryan wondered if anyone else had powers like his. Maybe there were others out there, people who understood what it was like to have a secret, a dangerous gift you could never share with anyone. Maybe there were people who could teach him how to control it. He didn't know why he thought of it now, but something inside him stirred. Maybe it was time to stop hiding. Maybe it was time to find others like him. The next day, Ryan made a decision. He would go to the city library and see if he could find anything about people with strange abilities. The idea of finding others like him made him nervous, but the thought of living in isolation forever scared him more. As Ryan walked to the library that afternoon, he felt an unfamiliar sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't the only one. And perhaps, just perhaps, he could learn how to control this power before it controlled.